The party is on. Authorities in Rio de Janeiro say there is no cause for alarm over the Zika virus and the Summer Olympics will go on as planned. Hello and welcome to Matchpoint this week. This is the program here on CCTV Africa that brings you fresh perspectives on both African and global sport. I'm Mahir Mutua. Here's what else we have for you tonight. As the cloud of doping hangs over athletes, renowned agent says Kenyan runners can still win it clean. And we hear from one of the FIFA presidential candidates on his plans to fix the beautiful game. Well, 188 days to the Olympic Games, and rather than the tournament preparations making headlines, it is the Zika virus that has everyone's attention. The mosquito-borne virus is spreading rapidly across South America as the World Health Organization warned that the disease has been linked to birth defects. However, Rio de Janeiro Mayor Eduardo Paes says he does not believe the virus is a problem for the Olympics, but the International Olympic Committee don't want to take any chances and are expected to issue guidelines this week aimed at protecting athletes and visitors from the virus. This will be the first time Rio is hosting the world's biggest sporting event, and several countries are already warning their athletes about the virus.
I don't think that this Zika virus situation is a problem for the Olympics. The month where the Olympics will be played, which is August, is a month where you don't have proliferation of the mosquito. I will say it's much more easy, but right now it is a problem of not just Rio, but Brazil. We have been facing it for years without success. That's the issue. To be very honest, the least of my concerns regarding Zika and the dengue fever are the Olympics.
Now, the Rwandese duo of Nathan Byukusenga and Janvier Hadi will represent the country in the mountain bike and road cycling categories at the Olympics, respectively. This is the first time Rwanda has had two riders in the quadrennial event, and as Celestine Caronet reports, it is credited to a growing cycling culture in the country.
Over the last decade, the standards of cycling have been improving in Rwanda. The annual Tour du Rwanda, the country's flagship cycling competition, growing in stature with each edition and is currently part of the International Cycling Union's African Tour. In 2016, two riders will represent the country at the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. 35-year-old Nathan Byukusenga qualified for the mountain bike competition.
Even starting cycling, my dream thing, always thinking to be national races, to get in a level. That's why this time very happy to do Olympic, because Olympic, you know, is very top racing in around the world.
Nathan will be competing in the cross country, and being a road cyclist, he has then had to change his training in the run-up to the Olympics from the road to this course here, as he looks to build on his endurance and refine his mountain biking technique.
Your physical capacities, you work on short-term muscular endurance, power, short sprints, because it's a really demanding sport. Like you go fast for 20 seconds, and you have a downhill, you have to recover quickly.
Nathan is an original member of Team Rwanda and follows in the footsteps of a former teammate, Adrian Niyonshuti, who was the only competitor from the country at the 2012 Olympic Games.
Okay. My motivation is to finish race and to come in nice place, because I need to get a medal. If I get a medal, it's good for me, good for us, for my team, for my country.
25-year-old Janvier Hadi is the other cyclist from Rwanda who will be in Brazil. He will compete in the road race.
As a young boy, I often saw people riding around town, and I did too, but I never thought it would one day be a career. Today I am happy because I never thought I could ever compete in the Olympic Games.
Hadi moves to Germany this year to join continental team Bikeaid. This, he hopes, can help sharpen his skill and make him more competitive in Rio.
I know the Olympics will be challenging, but I will also use it as a learning experience because I just don't want to compete in one Olympics. I hope to feature in more.
Jean-Vier and Nathan represent the strides the country has made in the sport, which has often been seen as part of the country's post-genocide revival.
And cycling in general is a question of culture, a question of experience. So as mountain biking and road cycling is not part of the African culture as it is in Europe. So I think if we work hard during a few years here in Africa, they will be able to show their kids, the younger riders, how to do it.
Rwanda hope that with more riders joining international teams and Olympic representation growing, albeit slowly, then they can create that culture. But in the immediate future, it is eyes on Rio, with the hope that the two flag bearers can give this land of 1,000 hills something to brag about. Celestine Karone, CCTV, in Musanze, Rwanda.
Now, the men's road race will take place on August the 6th, and this week a group of riders were in Brazil to explore the course. World road racing champion Peter Sagan of Slovakia, a 4 times points winner in the Tour de France, was joined by 3 Tinkoff riders from Poland and a group of local riders who know the course well in the Recon Ride. The 256-kilometer route runs from the Copacabana and Ipanema beaches to Barra de Guaratiba. There, the competitors will head up into the hills for a short circuit before returning to the coast road, heading back towards the city and joining the coast road once again for the run to the finish at the iconic Copacabana beach. Well, now the countdown to the Olympic Games is well underway, and the women's football competition will be one of the most tightly contested affairs ever, and South Africa's team is eager to not just make up the numbers, but instead leave a mark at the sporting showpiece. Their preparations have stepped up a gear as they shift their focus to become a team to be reckoned with in Rio, as CS Duplessis now reports.
There were smiles all round at Banyana Banyana's second official camp of the year as the squad of 29 players continued their preparations for the Olympic Games in August this year. The mood in the camp was upbeat, with coach Vera Pauw satisfied with the progress being made at their base in Johannesburg, but the national coach warned that it's not a time for complacency as she wants her team to make a statement in Rio.
We're not just going there to making up numbers. We're not happy that we just qualify. We qualify to compete. Otherwise, you don't even start with the qualification, isn't it? So everybody's working very hard to make this happen. But we need to sort out a few things because, of course, it does cost money. We need funds. We need the whole organization around it. So there's a lot to do. But we've started, and that is the best thing.
For Captain Janine van Wyk, there's a lot to be excited about as her teammates prepare for the Olympics and valuable lessons to be taken out of their previous Olympic experience in London.
In 2012 we were there, we experienced that it was a fantastic vibe, and we know that we learned a lot from it. And going into this one, we have to go there and make a mark for ourselves. We need to go there and show the world what South African women's football is really about, and that is exactly what we're going to do.
SAFA will confirm Banyana Banyana's opponents in a host of friendly matches that are planned for the busy period leading up to the Games over the next few weeks, something that will prove vital for the national women's team as it will give them an opportunity to shift their focus from having qualified to now proving they belong amongst the best the world has to offer.
This is the new year. It's a new chapter for us because we had a chapter of qualifying. Now we have a chapter of making sure that we go to the Olympics and not just at numbers, but to play to be reckoned. So this is a good preparation camp for us so that when we get to the Olympics, we know that we're sharper and we have started by time.
It's a crucial period for Banyana Banyana as they prepare for the Olympic Games in Rio later this year. Coach Vera Pauw will sit with the South African Football Association and the sponsors in order to plot the way forward to the sporting showpiece. But for now, the hard yards continue in the sweltering heat in Johannesburg as the team gets its preparations in line for one of the biggest events in their careers. CS Duplessis, CCTV, Johannesburg.
You're watching Matchpoint. It's time for us to take a quick break. There's plenty more still to come, including as the cloud of doping hangs over athletes, renowned agent says Kenyan runners can still win it clean. Now turning to cricket, and Zimbabwe's Test cricket playing status is under scrutiny yet again. This follows a recent string of poor results, including an ODI and T20 series defeat to Afghanistan. CCTV's Farai Mwakutuya takes a look at what the Cricket Union is doing to try to improve performances.
The Chevrons sit bottom of the ODI World Rankings and second from bottom in the T20 rankings. The team also anchors the Test rankings with just 53 points. The team above it, Bangladesh, has 1,026. While other nations are already playing Test matches, Zimbabwe is yet to get off the mark and won't be seeing any action until later in the year. Its emphasis for now is on the ICC T20 World Cup in March, with Test opposition coming later in the year in the form of India, New Zealand and Sri Lanka. Zimbabwe's recent streak has left more questions than answers.
Why are they not showing more consistency? Why are we losing to Afghanistan? All due respect to Afghanistan, I have nothing against them, but we shouldn't be losing to them. We're a Test playing nation. Afghanistan's not. It's a non-negotiable that we win those games.
Failure to beat the Minnows has brought into question the country's Test playing credentials, prompting some to argue Zimbabwe should focus more of its energy on the shorter versions of the game. Doing so could see the country suffer a financial blow. Currently, all Test playing nations receive equal grants from the ICC. Losing its status would mean losing out on the estimated $9 million per year it gets now. Zimbabwe cricket is trying to shake things up. It's brought in former Sri Lankan captain Marvin Atapattu as batting coach and former South African fast bowler Makaya Ntini to help sharpen the bowling attack. The two have been engaged at the national team level, but analysts argue they could have had more impact at the grassroots.
The challenge that we've got is that we have a very weak club structure. We have a first-class structure that's feeding straight into a national structure. And that jump at the moment is just too big. And you can see that we don't have the depth from our results in the past couple of months and maybe even the past couple of years. Now, if you have those two here, and Marvin Atapattu is working with all the batters of Zimbabwe, and Makaya Ntini is working with all the fast bowlers of Zimbabwe, surely at some stage we're going to get those guys ready for international cricket. So yes, the employment of those two, not a bad move. However, wrong place.
Zimbabwe cricket has also revamped the format of the domestic league. It says, the model we have adopted allows for the game to be played widely in all the provinces as opposed to the previous model where the franchises dominated. Under the new structure, the former franchises are now first-class provinces. They will play their domestic matches against each other, strength versus strength. Greater competition at the local level could give the national team more depth, which would eventually translate into better results.
The union says improving results is a process and not an event, and so those hoping for an immediate fix may have to wait a little while longer. Farai Mwakutuya, CCTV, Harare, Zimbabwe.
Now, leading athletics management group Rosa Associati says Kenyan runners can indeed win without cheating. Gabriele Rosa, under whose stable several Kenyan athletes were sanctioned for cheating, says Kenya will not go the Russian way. CCTV's Sadiq Shaban now reports.
With Russia out in the athletics call for an unspecified period of time over systematic doping, the founder of one of the largest athletics management agencies in the world says Kenya will not join Russia in the Hall of Shame.
I am sure that Kenya will be not involved like we've done Russia to cover. About corruption is a big problem. It's not my problem because I respect Kenya. Must be Kenyan government and Jude to decide what is going, because Kenya must be clean.
In the past 4 years, several Kenyan athletes, including marathon runners Rita Cheptoo and Matthew Kisorio, all under Gabriele Rosa's management, failed doping tests and were sanctioned. The management also fired its leading coach, Claudio Baradelli.
We cut some person from our team, not because they are involved in doping, but maybe you must pay attention. If you are a coach, you must know if one athlete after training, he liked to use also doping.
The renowned marathon coach runs one of the biggest training camps in Kenya and manages the biggest number of Kenyan athletes whom he has been cautioning against cheating.
The athletes Kenya are big talent. They can be the winner anyway, you know what I mean, without doping. But someone tried to push. It's more easy to be the winner with some doping, and it's not true.
The Italian national says it could be a big year for Kenya in the Rio Olympic Games if sufficient preparations are done early, but would like to see more concerted efforts in the fight against doping, especially in 2016. Sadiq Shaban, CCTV, Eldoret, Kenya.
Right now, let's get some more perspective on this story. Joining us now live from Eldoret in the Rift Valley is CCTV's Sadiq Shaban. Sadiq, obviously Kenyan athletes continue to train and compete without any inhibition, despite what has been a difficult year, 2015. Have they now put those woes behind them?
That's right. My athletes here in the highland areas of Rift Valley are continuing with training, business as usual, they say, despite going through a very tumultuous year in 2015, where a number of their colleagues rather were sanctioned for anti-doping rule violation. We also saw in 2015 two top officials of Athletics Kenya getting suspended by the World Athletics Governing Body, the IAAF, for 6 months. Athletes we spoke to today say, in fact, it's business as usual. They have a very, very packed calendar this year, culminating into the Rio Olympic Games. So we didn't see any indication whatsoever that these athletes have either slowed down or held back on their training, despite the kind of year that actually defined the Kenyan athletics in 2015.
Now, Sadiq, obviously the Italian athletics manager there, Gabriele Rosso, was saying that his agency is not to blame for a number of the doping cases involving some Kenyan athletes. Can you tell us more on that?
We spoke to Dr. Gabriele Rosa, the owner and founder of Rosa Associati. We know that he's handling over 80 Kenyan athletes, very elite, a cream of athletes, including Asbel Kiprop and other world champions. And from 2013 up to from 2012 rather up to 2015, a number of athletes who were managed by this particular management agency were found to have violated the anti-doping rule. And in fact, this particular agency had to clear out some of the staff and backroom staff in order to deal with this kind of problems. Athletics Kenya did suspend Rosa Associati for a number of months, but they were later reinstated. So Dr. Rosa, as is famously known, says his agency is not to blame, in which case they are without blame, and that he put squarely the blame on each individual athlete who was caught to have doped.
Sadiq Shaban, thank you very much for joining us there on Match Point. That was CCTV Sadiq Shaban joining us live from Eldoret in the Rift Valley. Now, the IAAF has doubled its budget to fight doping in athletics in the aftermath of the Russian doping scandal and ahead of the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. The sport's governing body is eager to clamp down on cheaters. South Africa's anti-doping agency is rated as the top agency in Africa and complies to WADA's high standards, as CS Duplessis now reports.
The South African Institute for Drug-Free Sport tests about 3,000 athletes per year in accordance to the World Anti-Doping Agency's stringent testing standards. The man responsible for overseeing the entire organization is Khalid Galant, who believes that his team is doing their utmost to keep sport in South Africa clean and that the athletes who are cheating are caught and handed the correct punishment.
We're always staying abreast, and we do catch athletes, but our objective is to protect the integrity of sport and to protect clean sport. Testing is one of the ways we do that, and testing serves as a deterrent to those that contemplate cheating. So we do catch the cheats, but overall our intent is to protect clean sport.
South Africa is a code-compliant country with the Institute for Drug-Free Sport rated amongst the top 10 agencies globally and the top agency in Africa. Galant believes that even in an Olympic year, his team can handle the pressure of making sure elite athletes are tested regularly and cleared to compete with the best in Rio.
We are more robust in Olympic year. There's more focus in terms of teams, the stakes are higher. And where the stakes are higher, some athletes will fall to temptation in terms of doping. But in terms of the Institute for Drug-Free Sport, we also want to assure the country, the Olympic Committee, that the team that they send over to Rio, that we've tested them numerous times, that we have a robust testing program, that they can be reasonably assured that the South African team going to Rio is clean and has been tested frequently.
The SAID CEO believes that by more athletes showing their disapproval of doping on social media, that more aspiring athletes will be deterred from taking a chance by taking banned substances that will enhance their performances unfairly.
One of our swimmers and cycling posted on Twitter, nice to be woken up early by Drug-Free Sport for a test. And then they post their form. And this is elite athletes wanting to show their supporters and the athlete that they support us, that they for clean sport, and also encouraging others that, look, we're competing at the highest level and we're not cheating, so those coming up, you shouldn't cheat. So overwhelmingly, I believe that the majority of South African sports people want clean sport. They don't want to compete against cheaters, and they want to compete cleanly, and they welcome testing in their sport.
The message is clear from the CEO of the South African Institute for Drug-Free Sport. Any athlete caught doping will be punished, and with their current structures in place, it's just a matter of time before they catch the culprits. He's also reassured Sascock that South Africa will send a clean team to Rio later this year. CS du Plessis, CCTV, Cape Town.
Now, the FIFA presidential election is set for next month. 5 candidates have thrown their hats into the ring to replace the suspended Sepp Blatter, and all were scheduled for a debate this week in Brussels to discuss the topics plaguing the world governing body. Unfortunately, most pulled out, leaving only long shot Jérôme Champagne, which meant cancelling the meeting. Despite that, CCTV's Dan Williams was able to catch up with the Frenchman to see how he would fix the beautiful game and China's role within it.
First of all, why should Jérôme Champagne be the new FIFA president?
I'm someone who understands the relationship and the complexity of the globalization of the game today. I know what has to and can and should be kept in the good which has been made in the past 40 years, development programs, taking the World Cup all around the world and the other competitions as an incentive to boost football in countries, the development of women's football. But I know also exactly what we need to change because I was inside. So not only I'm independent, and also I'm not linked to any kind of vested interest. And that's something. And for restoring FIFA, we need someone who has the knowledge and who has the independence. Someone who has not been stained by the past. And if you look at of my opponents, all of them have some question marks around their balance record, their track record.
Given all the scandal that's taken place with FIFA and with world football, how can we trust you?
Understand the skepticism. Understand the skepticism. Of course, I'm a human being. I can make mistakes. But what is clear that I commit myself in this campaign to be a transparent president, and I accept the scrutiny. I have nothing to hide, and I understand that. But I'm clean, and I will do it.
Has it surprised you the depth of this corruption scandal that has engulfed FIFA over the last 8 months or so?
But of course, like a lot of people loving the game, I was flabbergasted when I saw these successive revelations, successive suspensions, successive sentencing. I don't want to whitewash the situation. It's a very severe crisis. But it's not, FIFA is not going to die. FIFA will restart because a lot of fundamentals are solid.
What have you made of China's attempts to improve the level of football there?
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. And what is also very exciting is the fact that President Xi has clearly set strong goals, that he wants the Chinese national team to qualify for the World Cup, China to organize the World Cup, and hopefully one day China winning the World Cup. And the decision to create immediately 5,000 football schools with the objective of going up to 25 or 30,000. Wow, I said, China has really decided to become a major powerhouse in the game. So that's very exciting. It will take time because you don't produce talents so quickly. So it's very exciting. And I know now the economic power of China, the potential of the investors. I'm absolutely sure that they will do well. I'm absolutely sure.
Do you feel that the China market is the key market for growth in world football now?
When I joined FIFA in 1999, there was still some frontier states on the map, the world map of football. The US still had to be conquered. So now we cannot call these countries frontier states anymore. They're passionate about the game. When you have Guangzhou Evergrande, champion of Asia twice in 3 years, you correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, we are winning this battle, and definitely the orientations given by President Xi are going in the right direction. So definitely it's exciting. It's exciting because of the population. Out of 1.4 billion persons, we can have probably 100 million kids who are going to play, boys and girls. You imagine what it means. It's huge, it's fantastic. So I'm absolutely sure when you have such a pool of population, talents are going to appear. It's inevitable.
Finally, can you restore FIFA's credibility?
Yes, I believe I can. But I'm not naive. I don't live in a Pollyannish world of everything will be easy. It will be extremely difficult, because the crisis is severe. But at the same time, I believe that some of the fundamentals are solid. It's going to be complicated, but some people were talking about scrapping FIFA, dissolving FIFA, starting from scratch. I totally disagree with that.
Well, we leave things there for this week's edition of Matchpoint. Remember, we would love to hear from you. Do send your feedback to matchpoint@cctv.com or visit our Facebook page and leave a comment there, CCTV Africa. Stay in touch with us on Twitter. The handle, as always, is @CCTV News Africa. Thanks for watching. We leave you once again with this week's Move of the Week, which comes from the Dutch Eredivisie, where PSV's Luciano Narsing scores an eye-catching goal from a tight angle.